Hey, CGB, what is one thing that Hearthstone cards have that is kind of similar to Magic that is not mana cost?
A text box, art.
Okay.
Let
me make it a little easier for you. That is not in Yu-Gi-Oh.
That is not in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes. Let's see if you can get it.
And it's not mana cost.
It's not mana cost.
It's not art.
It's not art. Yu-Gi-Oh has art.
Text box.
Yu-Gi-Oh has text box.
It's not in Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm already bad at this.
Okay, I'll speed this up just for the intro's sake.
Digital client.
They also. Okay, it's fine. I'll talk about colors and classes. Yu-Gi-Oh's cards are all like generic. You go by whatever card you want into your deck, but in Magic and in Hearthstone, we have classes or colors, right? And you have to kind of build your mana base in Magic to play for those colors. Or in Hearthstone, if I am a rogue, I can only use rogue and neutral cards. Your job today is gonna see if you can figure out what the card's class is. So I literally remade all these.
No. I still don't know the classes. Oh, no. I've never known the classes.
So the good thing about this type of video is I can also show you cards I wouldn't necessarily show you in like any other video, because a lot of these cards are just not inherently like great, or they're not that interesting, but you can now give me your evaluation on specific cards, as well as you're going to try to guess what class it is from.
I honestly think people meme on the minions are not spells thing. I think I've far more often been like, what class is this? Because
and that is why this is going to be fantastic. Can't wait for you to see what you do. Good luck. Here's the first one.
Bladed Cultist is 1 mana for a 1/2 with combo, gain +1/+1.
This one I'm hoping should be rather obvious, but God, I don't know if we've done enough videos for this but hopefully it is.
This one is rogue.
What makes you think it's rogue? What makes you think it's rogue?
Combo. That's what.
Let's go, CGV. Yep. Let's go. That's right. Yes.
They thought I was done.
All right, first one, rogue. Good job. What do you think of the card?
Depends when it was printed, but a 1 mana 2/3 and something else you want to do is like, yeah, this could be a good card. Sure. I believe the coin counts for combo.
Yes.
So that means like if you have 2 of these and you go second, like you just have 2 2/3s on turn 1. That's pretty good.
So you think it was playable in 2016?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the other 1-drops available, but I would, you know what? I'm a fan of a good old 1 mana 2/3. Kurt Ape was really good in Magic the Gathering as a 1 mana 2/3. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the Blade Cultist.
You know what's crazy? Is I think this card is like very bad. I can't remember it ever seeing play. So unfortunately for you,
crap. But that's not the game we're playing today.
Okay, let's go on to I'm so happy you got that one. Okay. Now it's not going to be as obvious, but it's still, I think you can get this based on the videos that we've done. Okay, you ready?
Mutate. 0 mana, transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more, and it's a nature spell. Does that make it druid because it's nature? Or do other
No.
What?
That does not make it a nature spell, but you can think about what kind of classes would use nature.
I don't know. Like, what was polymorph in?
Polymorph was in mage. It was in mage.
It was in mage. Doesn't feel like a mage card. Like I associate mage with like blue and burn and like, so it like if mage were a magic color, it would be red and blue. And if this were a magic card, it would be green and blue. What's green and blue? I mean, Hunter seems to care a lot about minions. I mean, there's no way it's priest, and there's no way it's paladin, and it doesn't feel like warlock. It doesn't. I mean, I hope we're not doing any Death Knight stuff. Maybe.
I'm not going to answer that question.
What comes to mind is potentially shaman, but I always thought of shaman as like black, red, or Jund, and I feel this is like Simic, but that might be me trying too hard. So shaman is like punching me in the gut, being like, "Why not me?" And I'm like, I don't know. And then there's the druid. You know, druid. Does druid transform its stuff? No, druid is like hunter to me. It's very punchy as well. Maybe hunter is Jund. Ooh, hunter might be Jund. Yeah. Okay. So if hunter is Jund and druid is just green, and maybe some green red or something like that, then Simic is. I'm gonna go with shaman. Shaman.
Okay, final answer.
Yeah.
You're right. That is shaman. Congratulations, you did it. You did so well. What do you think of the card?
I mean, it's a random one, so that does mean you have the problem of probably turning something that was made for your deck into something that doesn't work very well for your deck, and you spent another card to do it. So I would say that the random angle makes this a bad card, unless there's some kind of like payoff for casting 0 mana spells.
Okay, this card was actually very good in a very particular deck. This was the card that it was used with. You can go ahead and read that.
Mogu Fleshshaper. Rush costs 1 less for each minion on the battlefield. Oh, it's 9 mana.
So you would play this, right? And then because it looks at the base cost of the card itself, you would get a 10 drop off of this. And that ended up being extremely, extremely powerful. Well done. 2 for 2. Here's your next one.
Can't evaluate for shit, but
It's
hey.
you can guess the class, which was what matters for this video.
Altar of Fire. 1 mana, destroy the top 3 cards of each deck. What? It's a mill card. It's a fire spell. Mill. What mills? I haven't seen many mill cards in Hearthstone. Mill. It's an altar. Like, do priests use altars? I think so. That sounds like it makes sense.
Okay.
But you know what? They probably don't have just a lockdown on that. I'm seeing, so I said earlier, mage is it, and there's a lot of blue and red vibe on this card. So it's giving me a lot of mage just from the art. And that might be a red herring. That might be a trap. But I could see mage. Mage could be destroying the deck. Top 3 of each deck could be mill. Blue is mill and magic. Mage seems to have some blue to it. So I'm kind of between, do you go with the flavor of priest or do you go with the like kind of parallel to magic of mage? And I'm gonna go mage. Mage.
Okay, final answer.
Yes.
You are incorrect. Mage has very few cards that discard. I think there's like very, very small instances where it does. Most of the time it is not. That's not what like really their class identity. Knowing it's not mage, what was your other class?
I mean, I was talking about priest because of the altar. I really don't know what destroys its own deck. Or like, I guess when you destroy the top 3 cards of your deck, they go to the graveyard. Like, what is the mill? One, I don't know.
In Magic the Gathering, what is the card? What is the color that does discarding?
The priest thing was strictly flavor, which now means nothing. It's all about the text box. What mills? I don't feel like I know this at all. I can't think of any card you've shown me that does milling. I don't have it, dude.
Okay. I'll give you the answer. This is Warlock. Warlock has had over the years a lot of like self-destruction, right? At a cost.
Sure.
In this particular expansion, they were going for a deck that is, if you pass a certain threshold, you get a bonus for the amount of cards left in your deck. And then obviously the huge payoff is the legendary, which is if you have 0 cards in your deck, you summon a portal that just summons 3/2 imps for the rest of the game. That was the win condition. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. The graveyard deck is the Warlock. I probably should have got that. Okay. Turalyon the Tenured. Who is this jabroni? So 8 mana for a 3/12 rush. Whenever this attacks a minion, set the defender's attack and health to 3. Oh, so it just kills whatever. Oh, that's nice. I mean, for an 8, I mean, I guess it depends. Are people making big taunties with like 20 health that you can just crush with this thing? That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. Looks like a paladin. I'm gonna say paladin. Looks the most paladin I've ever seen. If you look up in a dictionary and there's a picture of a paladin, I bet it's this dude. Dude, just look at the background. There's no way, like the big old stained glass and stuff, it's possible this is priest. But I don't see any crosses, and I see a big-ass sword. This looks the most paladin I've ever seen. If this isn't paladin, then they did a switcheroo on the art, and we're just like, I don't know, use that other piece of art we didn't use for the other thing that was supposed to be paladin, and they threw it on this card. That's paladin.
Okay, you are correct. It is paladin.
Yeah.
Nice work. Yeah.
Thank you.
With the border, it looks just like super clean. I didn't actually ask you for Altar of Fire. Do you think the card was good?
I guess it depends. You said that there were a lot of payoffs for that. I would think that normally this is not a card you want to run unless you have very strong graveyard payoffs. Like a card like this would see play in niche strategies in Magic because the graveyard was so important to the combo they're trying to execute and the speed you're trying to reach. So I would say, I'm sure at some point this got played. Like if there's like anything like that, if there's any kind of graveyard reanimator, but you said there was a strategy about the size of your deck, like this seems, I mean, unless they printed a better version that's like 1 mana in top 5, like those saw play in Magic too. So I'll say yes.
So Altar Fire is like, I think what you described right at the start, like it is very niche. It is a card that saw somewhat play, especially if you're trying to counter like a specific like thing in your opponent's deck, because again, there's no graveyard in Hearthstone. So if the card is burned off the top, like there's like no way for you to get it ever again. What about Turalyon? Do you think it was played?
I hope there are better ways in Paladin to just remove an opposing thing and have a body that hits harder, or, you know, I hope there's more you can get out of 8 mana. My instinct is that, like, yeah, it's got 12 health, but it doesn't have taunt, so it's just kind of 8 mana, kill one thing, and it doesn't punch that hard on its own. I would hope that there are better cards. It doesn't seem great to me.
You are entirely right. That's what it came down to.
I'm so good at this, dude. I've only gotten one wrong, and it was a scam. Nebula. 9 mana. Discover 2 8-cost minions to summon with taunt and elusive. And it's an arcane. Elusive. Elusive.
Elusive is it's like hexproof. Like it can't be targeted.
It's so nebulous. I don't know. Nebula. What does space things? Who goes to space?
There was an entire set called the Great Dark Beyond that revolved around space. So I will give you that you probably should not focus on that.
Great. Okay. You don't have to build a deck with a bunch of 8 costs in it. This just gets you 2 of them. They're just happen to be random. But how bad could 8 mana cards be when you get 2 of them?
That's a good question.
It says to summon, so they enter the battlefield. I mean, it is mana cheating on its own because they were 8 cost minions, presumably for a reason. So it's 9 mana for 16 mana. If this were in a color with a lot of spell reduction, that'd be scary if you could reduce this. And one of them gets taunt and one of them gets elusive. So you have like a board presence that must be that you're gonna untap with. I mean, yeah, this card seems kind of sick.
Okay.
But yeah, what is it in? What do you put the Nebula in? This is not a lot of hints in this one, Rarran.
Hey, I told you it's gonna get harder and harder as we continue going. I'm not gonna give this for free. You gotta build up your confidence.
The Great Dark Beyond, huh? Okay.
That is a real set, I promise you.
This should not be in Druid at all, because the problem with Druid is that nothing costs 9. They're just gonna ramp it out for like on turn 5 or something. You know,
okay.
Turn 4, turn 5, they're going to cast this. They're going to get 2 big monsters. But Druid does strike me as the pay big mana, get big things color. When you look at this and you think of a card like Force of Nature, and you were going to do something like Force of Nature, which puts a bunch of stuff on the board, and you want to do it in a space set, then like the art might be nebulous and the name might be Nebula, and it would have a big cost, and it would be something that gets you 2 big monsters. So like just the fact that it's focused in on the big dumb monsters and giving them abilities makes me think Druid. Am I gonna go with that? God, this card seems like it. Like the right way to do this would be to put this card in a color that doesn't ramp, so that you can't do it too soon because that would be crazy. Or you just do it recently and it's too powerful. I'm doing it. I'm gonna ship it. Druid. Let's do it.
Okay. It is not Druid. Druid as a class is not really doing taunt and elusive kind of stuff. Actually, I mean, that's kind of incorrect. I would say that maybe the biggest direction is what you just said. If Druid had the ability to ramp into this, it would be kind of frustrating as a play pattern. So they have to give it to a class that doesn't have the ability to ramp. I think that's a really good way of looking at it. Not going to say you can't necessarily cheat it out, because you can go through like a long path to actually get it so it's like playable for less mana, but I'm not going to go through that because maybe you'll give it away. Do you want to give it another chance because you know it's not Druid now?
You just want to make it look extra bad. If it's not
no,
Druid,
no. I'm just trying to give you as many opportunities to redeem yourself and show the people how smart you are.
I thought about
Here, say that Magic the Gathering card you showed me. People would be so impressed that you could say it.
Shaman was a maybe. I mean, the elusive part, the thing about elusive is like maybe rogue, but maybe hunter. Maybe this is a hunter, because druid, that's the other one that I associate with green.
Okay.
Yeah, fine, hunter. Let's do it.
Okay. It is not hunter. That was your second chance. And shaman. It is shaman.
Oh, Jesus, it is. Okay. God. Okay, fine.
So
there's something kind of mystical about it, I guess.
Shaman's a weird one because Shaman is truly the jack of all trades when it classes. And that's what it usually comes down to. Shaman's usually on the verge of being unplayable or too good. It's very hard to find a middle ground for it because it just kind of does everything. And that's what makes it such a unique class in its own way. Nebula is a card. Actually, before I even tell you how good it is, what do you think of the card? You think it's playable?
At 9, it depends on that format, man. At 9 mana, 2 random pieces might not matter if the opponent's just popping off, but it seems like a good card to me. If there were any way to cast it early, it seems like mana cheating in its own way, and the abilities seem good. Yeah, I mean, this feels like a good card. Reminds me of Tooth and Nail in Magic, which was busted.
In Arena, if this card's played, it probably just wins you the game on the spot. Like, there's no way for you to touch it. Like, in Draft, it's absolutely nuts. In Standard, this card fits a weird void of, like, you're playing big shaman, so you're not running a lot of low cost things, and it helps you fill up your deck out without playing these like really low cost cards. But on top of that, there is a card in the game called Hagatha the Fabled, I think is her name, and what she does, ready for this like long journey here, like, hey, this is like reminiscent of your video. You play Hagatha the Fabled. She converts 2 spells into minions. Therefore, these would be a 9 mana 9/9 battlecry cast Nebula. Then, because they're a minion, there are ways for you to discount those minions, or there is another card in Shaman that is like a 7 mana 5/5 that reduces a spell by 5 mana. And that card is sounds good. Now, it's weird because I don't know if I would ever count Nebula as like broken, but it is playable in Standard. I think that's a good way of describing it.
Decimator Olgra. Wow. Okay. 6 mana, 3/7 battlecry, gain +1/+1 for each damaged minion, then attack all enemies. Okay. So each damaged minion and then attack all enemies. Yeah, damage doesn't go away. So everything that's below the stats where it was gives this thing an extra buff. And then it goes, hi-ya, I fight you all. Man, at 6, that's probably killing a chunk of board. Would be really horrible, though, if it just came down and ran right into something bigger than it. So we got a big ol' axe. We got a proclivity to attack and fight. And we've got a damage theme. And that reminds me of Warrior. We haven't really talked about Warrior. Warrior is like I don't know if it's Boros. Boros is kind of Paladin. What would Warrior be? Is that like black-red? Something like that. It comes very aggressive. It's very Mardu to me. And this one's giving me a lot of Mardu vibes. That's black, white, and red in Magic terms. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get away from it. I don't think I'm going to talk myself out of it. This feels like a Warrior.
You're correct.
Yes.
It is a Warrior. Nice job. Do you think this card was playable?
With good setup, this card is an absolute killer, a one-sided board wipe that can leave stats behind. And I remember Warrior cards that did damage to every, like, a point of damage to every minion and stuff, and like gave you benefits out of it. Because I'm thinking a lot of, what was that Warrior thing that like made copies of things? That the Warrior that made more warriors
Grim Patron?
Yeah, right? That was a Warrior deck, right? I'm not crazy.
Okay. Yeah, it was a Warrior deck.
If those things are a part of the Warrior identity, seems like they are based on the little bit of decks that I've seen. I bet this had an intended home. I don't know if it was a good deck because it seems situational. And situational cards are often, they look better than they are, and it depends on how well you can set them up based on how the meta goes. So I'll say niche, probably not busted.
I think that's fair. I think it was like a pretty decent card for what it was, though. There's obviously circumstances where it was like way better than others, and depending on what the metagame was like, but Warrior had a pretty easy way of dealing damage to their entire board and also smacking their opponent. So it was playable. Definitely not like meta defining or anything like that, though.
Gibbering Reject? 4 mana, 3/3. Oh, it's a demon. Okay. After your hero attacks, summon another Gibbering Reject. Okay. It's a demon, and there's a class literally called Demon Hunter, right? Or Death Knight? No. What?
Demon Hunter exists. Demon Hunter
Demon
exists.
Hunter's a class. It's a class. And then there's Warlock. But this thing says after your hero attacks. So that is a bit of a weapon nod.
Okay.
Rogue has weapons. Rogue likes weapons. I think everybody uses weapons to various extent, but it feels like Rogue is where weapon is like built into your hero.
Rogue's hero power is equip a dagger. Yes, you were correct.
Yeah. So is that too easy? It also seems to like, I don't know, like Rogue seems to like value in combos and things, and this kind of has some of that going.
Okay.
Like just being a demon doesn't say Warlock to me, even though it seems like a demon class. I can't think of Demon Hunter. We did that video, but I can't think of its identity really. I really
Demon Hunter's
kind of a
identity
blank.
Is damage, draw, and mana cheat.
Yeah, okay, all the goods. All right, but no, not really not really an endless copy of yourself, right?
But, okay, hold on. Just so I don't skew in one way or another, I will say, reminder: the hero power of Demon Hunter is 1 mana. Your hero has 1 attack this turn, plus 1 attack this turn.
That's right. That's pretty good for this too. It's literally a demon, Rarran. What a bait this might be. You naughty boy. I'll go with Demon Hunter. Why not? I barely know what that thing is doing. It is a demon and it does work with the hero attack theme. Let's just go with it. We gotta break the ice on Demon Hunter somewhere.
You are correct.
Yeah, because I'm so smart.
You're so smart. Do you think this card's good?
I mean, it's 4 mana for 2 3/3s if your hero attacks the same turn, which means it has to have a weapon equipped that turn. But it seems to fit the curve of some cards that you showed me. So at times, is 4 mana for 2 3/3s good enough in Hearthstone? It does spiral a little. They have to kill both of them or it keeps going. I'll say this had a niche role at some point.
This card's
when the
unplayable.
weapon was good. Unplayable. Okay. Well,
If this card said after your hero attacks, summon a copy of this, I think we have some sauce. But
wait, what's the difference?
You get a Gibbering Reject, which means you summon a 3/3 Gibbering Reject with the same text. If you could buff it, right, you can enchant it, and then it said summon a copy of this. That means you get all the enchantments copied to the one that you just made. But you don't get that because you just get a 3/3 Gibbering Reject.
Okay, but if you attack and then you have both of those in Rarran land, you would get 2 more, right? Doesn't that get out of hand? No, not allowed.
I don't know what Hearthstone you're playing in Rarran land,
Okay,
but that's not it. All right, here's the next one.
Pocket Dimension. That's cute. 4 mana, discover a spell, repeat until you see one for the second time. Discover a spell, repeat until you see one for the second time.
So that means while you're going through the discovers, right, you get 3 options per discover. You keep discovering until the discover sees a card you've already seen in a previous discover. So
this isn't from your deck. This is like
random. So reminder, you could only discover spells from the class you are playing. It's not like every class. So
that could be so many spells.
Well, there's a cap of 10 regardless because that's how big your hand is, right?
Sure. Okay. But this could be like draw up to 10 of random spells. That's crazy. I wonder how many feels bads have occurred because of exactly that line of thinking. This feels very mage to me. It feels so mage to me.
Okay. Why does it feel mage to you?
Spell. It does spell stuff. Like
okay,
spell stuff is very mage. I like if I were to get away from that, I don't know what I'm thinking anymore. Also, it's a very mage thing to like. What do you got in your pocket when you're a mage? I don't know. Could be another dimension. What do you know? So I'm gonna go with mage.
Fantastic. It is mage. Good job.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you think you seem to think this card's very good? Thoughts?
I mean, it's random spells and it draws your hand and you probably, if you play it on turn 4, that doesn't just load up on spells, but then the next turn, the next card you draw, you incinerate. So maybe just a hand of random spells doesn't help much. You do discover it, right? So you get 3 choices.
You get at minimum 1 spell and you get 3 choices. Yes.
Yeah. I guess what I'm not processing is how quickly it's like the process is over in the RNG. But like to me, it looks like a card I would play for sure. Like, so I think this card looks good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not very good. I don't even.
How quickly does it brick?
In standard, I would say you probably get like 4 discovers, but then you have to ask yourself, like, how good is 4 discovers generally? And it can be good, but do you really need that much value in a game of Hearthstone? Are you comfortable spending 4 mana to discover spells and still have the ability to play them? It's iffy. So it ends up being like a pretty awkward card a lot of the time. And in standard, it's just not efficient enough, which is very funny. If this card was printed like 5 years ago, it'd be turbo broken. Like, it'd be amazing.
Yeah. Dude, this sounds like fire to me. Everything you just said, I'm like, in Magic, that's busted. Let's go. Swiftscale Trickster. He's a fishy boy. 4 mana for a 2/2 Naga. Battle Cry. Your next spell this turn costs 0. Your next spell this turn costs 0. I know minions aren't spells. I'm aware. Gosh, this thing in the Nebula would be busted. Okay.
Okay, so think about that for a quick second. Think that for a quick second.
Yeah.
That's a good indication that it might not be Shaman.
Probably not Shaman. Why would they do that? This thing has knives. It's very roguelike, very, very roguey. I think pirates are also kind of roguey, even though I know that some are neutral. It works with combo in rogue, and I think rogue likes mostly lower cost spells, so it's not like it's busted there. So I'm getting rogue vibes. What else could it be? I don't remember. I know I saw some Naga cards in the past. I think they were among a lot of different classes and maybe even neutral. So probably don't want to think about that too hard. In Magic, the type kind of follows colors a lot of the time. You get used to like what colors a type is. I don't feel like Hearthstone's quite the same.
I would say that I'll just help you out there. For this set, it was Voyage into the Sunken City. Naga was the new minion type. So
okay.
I wouldn't say like, oh, this class has Nagas and this class doesn't. That's not how I would think about it. Because every class, I think, got at least 1.
Ooh, that's a spell cost 0. What the hell are we doing here? Holy cow, free spells? Yeah, it's probably not Shaman. That seems really good. I'll go with Rogue. Let's rogue it up. You look roguey enough to me. You're a trickster. Tricksters are rogues.
You are correct.
Yeah.
This is Rogue. Good job. Do you think this card was good?
It depends on the spells, right? I mean, if there's a sick like 7 mana spell, maybe it's a 1/2 punch combo, so you build a deck around that. I'm guessing that it wasn't consistent, so I'm gonna say, you know, another niche player, just another memer on ladder with a Swiftscale Trickster. But then you're gonna tell me there was like some busted pop off win the game spell, and I'm gonna be like, well, of course, then this is great. So I'm gonna say that they weren't that dumb, and this card was meh.
This card actually ended up being like pretty good.
Okay.
One of the reasons why it was very good though is because there's another card called Jackpot. There's a card that like gives you from other classes spells that cost 5 or more. So with the combination of that, even though you do get randomness, a lot of the spells that are like highly costed are actually very impactful. So this ended up being good. Rogue also just likes the fact that you could shadow step this card. So even if you have a cheaper card, you get like a 2/2 with the free spell, and then you also proc the combo. It's actually really interesting that you're saying combo because this card never really interacts with that too much. But that is a good way of looking at it. And it was cool to hear you deduce that all the way down to Rogue.
Shrink Ray. 5 mana, set the attack and health of all minions to 1. Set the attack? What? Set the attack and health of all minions to 1. What would do this? It's funny because I'm like, hey, maybe we got a priest card here. And then I'm like, there's no way a priest card is this scientific.
Okay. It's funny how you keep going down to the expansion. The expansion was the Boomsday Project, which was like a bunch of different scientific experiments hosted by Dr. Boom. So
that wasn't awkward for priests at all that science. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, maybe this type of science was weird for them, but they were definitely doing science for that one.
Okay.
It's funny how you're like, always what class is doing space?
Yeah. Magic Brain, you know, we had very consistent themes for a very long time in Magic the Gathering until recently. Nearly every theme was very similar, but the color identity, the color pie was like held up as a sacred cow that you just did not bend. Most of the time it's us going to a different world where most of the things are similar to what they are everywhere else. And only recently have they gone kind of crazy with that, where I could see them doing like a set with a lot of science in it and figuring out how the color white interacted with that. So, I mean, if I'm trying to use that side of my magic brain, which is still very underdeveloped, and I'm looking at this being like, okay, is this how they make a priest card in a sci-fi set? Would this be a priest card? Maybe it would be, but it still feels weird. I'm sure you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? We're in a lab. Yeah, okay. So the thing that comes to mind most with like experimenting on stuff is like shaman, maybe? Got little totems. They talk to their totems. Things happen. Totems seem to have effects on stuff, right? So that comes to mind. There's no way this is warrior. There's no way this is a hunter card. I don't think. Like, what does this have to do with hunting? Nothing. Scientific experimentation. Yeah. Also, Simic. Like we talked about, Simic is shaman. That this falls into that, but you said it's the science set, so maybe that's not something I can roll with. So then we look at like how about a warlock? Does a warlock gonna use science to make everything small? What makes things small for funsies? This could also be mage. It's kind of like a spell. There's spellish stuff to it, and it interacts with like a bunch of their like missiles that deal 1 damage to a bunch of things, so people could dream about playing those cards together. There's no way this is paladin. This one's frustrating, Rarran. This one's frustrating. Sorry. I don't like this. I will go. Yeah, mage also has that hero power, right? It's 1 damage to anything, I believe.
Yep. 1 damage to everything.
I'll go with mage. Why not?
You're going with mage.
Yeah, I'm going with mage.
Okay, I'll tell you now, it's not mage.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you maybe a way to help you out here. Okay. Go all the way back to classic, where hopefully you saw a tournament, right? I think you said you watched a couple of games.
Yeah.
Do you remember our particular class that was able to set all minions on board's health to 1? Do you remember that class?
No.
Okay.
This was a popular card? Oh, shit. I mean, I'm sure I saw it. That was like, can you believe it's almost been, it hasn't been like a year, but it's been a long time since we did those early videos.
I thought you were going to say, did you know Classic was 11 years ago? And I was like, stop, don't say that.
That is also true.
That is cursed to me. I don't know why.
God, I can't, dude. I ain't got it. I don't got it. I'll go with Shaman as a second guess.
This is Paladin.
Paladin?
Paladin has a card in Classic called Equality. And Equality is a spell that sets all minions' health to 1. And for Shrink Ray, they did the exact same thing with attack.
You know, it kind of works. It does. There's the white coat. Let's start with that. Then we have the dictionary definition of paladin in the tenured guy up here, which sets the health to 3, right? So it changes health. I should have seen it. The only thing left to say is that if you are putting a picture in a dictionary of a paladin in your art, you definitely don't go with this. What the hell are they talking about? But okay, fine. Paladin. I would have never, dude.
Did you think Shrink Ray was a good card?
So maybe there's like a go wide, just put a bunch of stuff on the board, and this lets you trade the big things they exchanged and everything's equal. So I bet it had a niche.
Okay, so I would say this card was actually good. The thing is, eventually Equality, which used to be 2 mana, they nerfed it to 4. So for 1 additional mana, you got the ability to also affect their attack, which was pretty relevant. I'm not going to say this card was broken. I'm not going to say this card was like a meta definer, but this card was played.
Lesser Jasper Spellstone. 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion, gain 3 armor to upgrade. 2 damage and gain 3 armor to upgrade. Why is it in parentheses?
So in this particular set, Kobolds and Catacombs, which is the Dungeons and Dragons set, for the record, by the way, considering what you just showed me, it says gain 3 armor to upgrade because this actually transforms into a card that does 4 damage, and then you could do it again to get it to 6. But it's just letting you know that this card can improve. That's pretty much it.
Do you need to gain the armor while this is in your hand, or can it be in your deck?
Has to be in your hand.
Who just passes around armor? I feel like that's a priest thing. Or is that warrior? Maybe that's warrior. Somebody just gets all the armor in a certain class. Maybe it is warrior.
I will remind you that there is the hero power for warrior, which says gain 2 armor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, free armor.
Priest
Great.
is heal 2 life.
Oh, okay. 2 health. Health and armor, very different. I mean, is there something that's going to change my mind about this being a warrior card, knowing that? It is a Spellstone. Spells make me think of mage, but every class has spells. There is Jasper. What's that mean? I don't know. It's a material. What are we talking about? There's some green stuff going on in the art. That's just been there to fool me. So sure, I'll go with the armor class. Why not? That's kind of what I have to go on here. We'll go with warrior.
You're going with warrior.
Yeah.
This is not warrior. It's druid.
Druid. We finally had a druid card, huh?
Druid.
Okay.
Druid's hero power is gain 1 attack and 1 armor for theirs. But Druid
also has gave out armor too.
Druid also has a ton
ask.
of different cards that do give them armor as well. You'd be surprised. Mage also has a bunch of different ways of getting armor, for the record, by the way. So it wasn't actually a horrible pick if you decided to go through that. But yeah, this is a druid spell. Do you think this card was good?
Doesn't feel like it. I guess it depends on how good the armor and upgrades are. I don't think of the weird thing about Druid is we talked about it so much, and I don't think I ever really processed their hero power because it doesn't feel like they actually use it. They just play big things. You know, it's like the game is already over. Why are they doing this? So, like, why are you running a removal spell that might upgrade when you can just ramp out the biggest, strongest stuff in the game? So I'm going to say no.
This card was very good.
Okay,
absolutely
that's nice.
One of the best cards from like that year for Druid. Druid had a very good year. This is a very good card. There's just like a lot of really good ways of getting armor. There's a card called Oaken Summons, which is 4 mana. Gain 6 armor and then summon a 4-cost minion from your deck, basically. And that card was like absurd with this. It turned out having like Druid's not really known for their like removal, so having an ability to do 1 mana to deal 6 is actually very, very good. So it was just very, very playable card. Yeah, it was good. Very, very good card. Okay.
7 mana Dinosize, set a minion stats to 714. I mean, if this were Magic, this would be such a green card. There's like cards like Scale Up that like turn a thing into a worm stats. This would be so Druid in Magic, but we're not playing Magic. Is that Murloc in the art? Sure is.
Yeah, it's a Murloc becoming a dinosaur.
Yeah, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? So when we're changing stats, right? Paladin changes stats but makes them smaller. That's what we established. This okay. Looking at some of the other like mutate, right? This looks like a shaman card. This looks like a shaman card to me. Is there something else that would just straight up change stats that way? Let me think. What make small thing huge? And particularly Dinosize. Is this what a hunter spell looks like? Does hunter care about stats that way? We haven't had many hunter cards, and they still have a very nebulous identity to me. I think you could probably fool me a lot with hunter cards. So are you doing that now? Huntering, like kind of turning into a giant predator, feels hunter-ish. But okay. I can't get past like the mutating, right? The mutate definitely feels like it's pointing in the direction of shaman, but this would be like my 3rd shaman card. But you said it's kind of nebulous, so maybe that is exactly what you're trying to do. You're overloading me with nebulous shaman cards. I'm gonna go hunter. Let's go hunter. I think that maybe hunter wants to take its minions and make them thick, and that sounds fun.
This is an honor.
Is it shaman?
No, it's not shaman.
What the heck is it then?
It's paladin.
No way.
Bro, I give you 2 hits for this card.
But they both made it small. Paladin made stats go down. This makes stats go big ups.
They can.
Where's the... Okay, let's go back to our paladin prime up here, whoever this is. Look at this dude. How is he dino... Like, what are they doing to Dinosize of Murloc? How does that make any sense?
So Paladin actually has surprisingly a lot of Murlocs in their class as well.
The hell?
Paladin is this, and again, I'm not a World of Warcraft expert here, but Paladin does have a lot of buffs. So they have a lot of ways to increase the stat lines of cards, right? And I've showed you cards of like Blessing of Might, I think that's what it's called, where it's like doubles the attack of a minion. Right, I showed you like there's Blessing of Kings, which is +4/+4. Like Paladin does have a lot of ways of actually amplifying people's stats. Do you think Dinosize is playable?
What if you use this on it? Just in Magic, in Commander like formats, we'd be looking for something that said, like draw cards equal to its toughness or something, and then you just pop off to the fucking moon, you know? That's what we'd be doing. But that would be Commander. In a 1v1 format, nobody's letting that happen very easily. If you don't have a board, this isn't useful. So you're looking for a 1-mana card that somehow like maybe has charge and life steal, and then you use this on it and you get this huge life swing? Then we're talking. No. There might be a combo you're gonna tell me, but I'm saying straight up like 7 mana, amplify one thing, Dinosize it, then win. Nah.
So during the time this was in standard, this is actually 8 mana, and this card was unplayable. At 7 mana, it's probably the exact same problem. Problem is this doesn't do anything. It's just a big meatball, and big meatballs don't really do anything in Hearthstone whatsoever. So yeah, pretty accurate there.
Was every card in this set about dinosaurs?
This was like Journey to Angoro, which is the dinosaur crater in Warcraft in Azeroth. So yes, a lot of it was dinosaur-esque.
Poison Breath is 2 mana to give a unfriendly undead poisonous.
Unfriendly?
Yes, I did. To give a friendly undead poisonous. So right away you want to think Warlock because it's undead. Is that too easy? Are you scamming me?
No.
You might be scamming me.
No, I wouldn't. No, come on.
You might be scamming me. I think that Warlock's too easy, especially this late in the video. So maybe you're trying to meta me, but here's what I'm saying. I'm looking at this. If you look in the dictionary for a picture of a shaman, I think you might get this hairstyle. I think you might get this outfit. I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm serious. Maybe. That doesn't seem crazy to me. This person looks like they have shamanic activities in mind right now. They do. The problem is they have no midsection. They have literally 0 torso. You can see right through it. You see that?
Okay.
Shamans feel much more like actually alive to me, not walking corpse. This feels like it should have been in the first 3 if it were Warlock. This feels like you're trying to meta me, but we haven't had Warlock, right? We haven't done a single Warlock.
We have had a Warlock.
We did.
We have Altar of something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We had the Altar. Yeah.
Altar of Fire.
And see, I still don't see it that way. Hey, it feels. Obviously, you have the dead theme. Like, is there what other? Let's think about it. What other class would touch dead stuff?
And what other class would?
Death Knight? This doesn't have much to do with knights. Nobody looks knighted here. Nobody this person is in no way knighted. Nobody would touch this with the edge of a sword and say, "I dub thee anything other than ugly." Oh, I'm gonna hate this. I'm gonna go with the obvious one. Is it Warlock?
It's not Warlock.
What is it? What is it? It's Death Knight. Okay.
Death Knight. Listen, I've showed you so many death cards. Death Knight's biggest thing is undead.
Oh, yay! There's just that, okay. It's the one stupid Death Knight video. Okay, God, undead. Yeah, why wouldn't I get Death Knight? He's so dead. Look how dead he is.
He's so dead.
Jesus
Look how dead
Christ.
he is. I also, I could have picked a card that had a rune and just see you would notice it, but I felt like that was too easy, so I didn't do that. Okay, this is your last card. You got this. Let's take it. Let's take it all together. Let's finish strong. Here you go. Oh, sorry. Do you think Poison Breath is good?
No. Unless combo. You give this to something that deals 1 damage to all enemies and you wipe their board. So
that is unironically the combo. Yeah. Pretty decent card for removal. Yeah, that's exactly how to describe it. Yep.
1 mana, all minions lose stealth, destroy all enemy secrets, and draw a card. All right. Who hates rogue and mage? That's kind of that's like my first thought.
Hold on. What classes have secrets? Can you name all of them?
Is it mage and shaman?
There's 2 more.
Warlock?
No.
Who has secrets?
Hunter has secrets?
Hunter has secrets?
What?
What? I didn't know that.
Hunter has secrets and Paladin has secrets.
Paladin has secrets?
Yep.
They're so like truthy, noble types, and they have secrets?
They have secrets.
Who is about exposing all this stuff? Who is just like, hey, you under the table dealings, you got to play honest honest Hearthstone. Who does that? And so for the flavor, it's just, you shoot up a flare to illuminate a dark battlefield. That is the flavor. Seems like a lot of people could do that.
Okay.
So we're thinking noble thoughts, and apparently it's not Paladin. Thank God you told me that, because I'd wonder if this was Paladin. So here's also part of the thing. It makes sense to me that that this would be a weapon in a class that doesn't use these effects. That is a Magic and game design brain, but that doesn't have to be true. At various points in Magic, they have designed cards that kind of we'll call it friendly fire cards, right? That mess with your own color identity. And I honestly just don't like those. And I think those are widely considered mistakes. But for the most part, you mess with the enemy abilities. And I hope that this is one of those cards, because if this is just here to trap me, you will succeed. If this turns out to be a card, like a rogue card, okay, whoa, you got me. They lost stealth. They took away their own abilities. Nice. If you get me there, you get me. The warrior is noble. The warrior is righteous. Warrior is very Boros in Magic to me, which is all about justice and getting it through any kind of confrontational means necessary. And then it's like, would a druid have a flare? That doesn't make any sense to me. A flare is like a device. It's not nature. Would a priest have a flare? I could see that, but then I think this wouldn't be called flare. I think it would be called holy light or something like that. Let there be light. Okay. See what I did there? That's what it would be called, but it's called flare. So I don't think it's priest. So I'm going to go with warrior. Warrior card. Exposed. Yes.
That's not warrior.
Jesus Christ.
Do you want one other guess, or do you want me to tell you what this is?
Not really. I just hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a hint. I'll give you one hint. It is a class that has secrets.
No, come on. Okay. Why would they do this? So the fact that it draws a card and it's kind of a combo-y thing, I was going to be like, maybe Rogue would friendly fire, and Rogue seems like it should have secrets, but you didn't say Rogue, right?
Rogue does have secrets.
It does have secrets?
It does.
Then as far as a combo-y card, I could go this with Rogue. I really hope it's not Paladin. That seems so stupid to me. I'll say Rogue.
It's not Rogue. It's Hunter.
It's Hunter.
It's Hunter.
It's Hunter.
Hunter actually, from a thematic standpoint, makes the most sense, right? Hunters would use a flare, but also just from finding a minion with stealth is something that a hunter would do, right? It would be the perfect one to track that minion down. Do you think flare was a good card?
Probably too niche. Probably really niche. It's only good in certain matchups, but it can just cycle. The secrets deck would have to be really popping off or something like that. I'm gonna say no, too niche.
Card was giga broken. Actually broken. In classic Hunter, this card was so good, not only because it was a way to deal with Ice Block, but it drew you a card. And this card was nerfed from 1 to 2 mana in GBG, and then it saw significantly less play. But it was a 1 mana cycle, deal with enemy secrets, and potentially the stealth on a minion. And yeah, wow. That is every card for you. Did you have fun?
It started out very fun. I was big braining it around the time of the Shrink Ray broke me. I think I got everything wrong after Shrink Ray. I did.
It's okay.
I did. I just bricked all the way to the finish line. I fell straight on my face with frickin' Shrink Ray, and that was it. Game over, man.
But it was fun, right? You had fun?
Yeah, actually, yeah. It really plays on how absolutely dumb I am when it comes to the classes in Hearthstone.
Listen, all I'm saying is people might be like, oh, this is a little unfair, whatever. I feel like, listen, we've done enough videos, and I feel like I picked cards that you could probably justify it for the most part what the classes are from. It's not just completely randomness. So I felt like this was completely fair, and I hope people like it. I have no idea.